want to start by saying a massive thank you to everybody that left comments on yesterday's video. Don't know how long we've been doing videos, 6-7 years, something like that. And I thought yesterday's video, as a collective, was the best load of comments I've ever had on any video, in terms of debate, in terms of people making really good points, basically nuanced discourse. It was amazing. I thought it was the amount of really well-made points in the comment section yesterday was amazing. I had nowhere near enough time to go and reply to all of them, but I did read all of them. And I thought they were great. Even if people were disagreeing with each other, the arguments which were being put forward were fantastic. And a lot of them had me sort of changing my mind and questioning myself on certain things. I just thought they were brilliant. Just so many people were saying, look, you're whatever, sorry, I disagree with you on this. And that's fine. I think disagreement is absolutely fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my favourite message from yesterday, and I'm going to give you a coaster. That's the wrong one. That's from my pinball channel. Sorry. Oh, there you go. I'm going to send you one of these. It's a Hammers Chat coaster. It ain't much. If I could, I'll give one of these to absolutely everybody that left a comment. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get a load more of these made up, and I think once a week I'll do a comment of the week or something like that, and I'll just send you out like a little Hammers Chat coaster. I spent too much time, if I'm honest, on this channel in particular, responding to trolls and bad comments and not really focusing on the people that matter. And I just thought the comments yesterday were outstanding. Sorry if I've spent a lot of the first 2 minutes of this video waffling about that, but I thought it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Sort of feeds into something today really, which is, having read a lot of the comments, having sort of immersed myself in a lot of the West Ham news, I'm quite excited by the change actually. And I know there are a few people who are concerned, and rightly so. And I played into that. What was the message on yesterday's video? Paqueta unhappy with Moyes ball. It's a negative clickbaity headline that I used yesterday, which was what it was, the story in itself. And there's a lot of people worried about David Moyes, worried about what's happening with the team, and I absolutely get it, which is why I tried to be as fair as I possibly could yesterday, in terms of let's actually appraise, let's play the ball rather than a man. Let's appraise what's going on with David Moyes. Let's appraise the criticism he's getting from the players, from coaching staff and stuff like that. And I just wanted to do it fairly without an agenda. But as a result of that, I found myself quite excited by the future for West Ham. And what I mean, with Tim Steeden coming in, with the appointment of the technical director, we're waiting confirmation on that, of course. I'm quite excited. I don't want Lucas Paqueta to leave. I really don't. But when I started looking at what this may mean for the club, I think it's really important. I think the first thing I want to talk about is our young under-18 team who won it was the FA Youth Cup, wasn't it? I really think it's important that they have opportunity, and if what we're going to need as a club is a new, fresh set of ideas and a new overhaul. With the new director of football coming in and being the boss, that's going to mean everyone's going to have to fall in line behind him. Now, I don't want to spend too much time talking about David Moyes. I did it yesterday, but David Moyes and Rob Newman and Mark Noble will either get together and forge a really good team with the director of football, or they won't. Those that don't will be gone, and they'll be gone really quickly. So I'm not too worried about next season that we're going to perform badly. When I say perform bad, in terms of results, that we're going to start having really bad results and we're going to capitulate and have a terrible season. I don't think that happens anymore. I think if West Ham have a bad start to the season, I think David Moyes would be gone. I really do. And I think a new manager would be appointed. So I think it's almost like win-win there. Either David Moyes embraces this new culture at the club and accepts that he is not going to be the guy that decides on bringing everybody in. And if either he goes with that, embraces that, and he runs with it, and it succeeds, or he doesn't, and it fails. And adjusting with Steeden, if it is indeed going to be Steeden, I think what he'll do is he'll just quickly appoint somebody like he did at Leverkusen. I think it might have been last season. I think they were maybe not doing so well, and he appointed Xavi Alonso. And well, that was that really. They went on. They finished the season really, really strongly. And it's a sort of young and youthful outlook in terms of running the club. And I think if you've got someone like that there who's willing to appoint younger staff, more forward-looking people in terms of the manager and whatnot, is going to sort of reshape certainly the coaching structure from top to bottom. And he's going to work hand in hand with Mark Noble, who clearly is going to work his magic at the academy level. Then I think you are going to provide pathways of opportunity through to the first team. So I'm excited about that. I really am. As I understand it, and you will have heard it all by now. I mentioned it the other day. The rumours will have got out enough by now. I mentioned it the other day. The West Ham Way 2.0, which is what he wants to implement, which is a restructuring from the ground upwards. Which I think I'm very excited about that. But we'll get to that. I'm sure that'll be covered in other videos. What I'm also really excited about, and I have to be honest with you, is the transfer window. We had a massive overhaul last season. Loads of players came in, and we spent £200 million. Now, I don't know how much money we've got to spend here, but there's no way a new director of football is coming in without money to spend, without funds to invest. I already know, because I told you this the other day. It was Barry Silkman said, the new director of football that's coming in. I said this, what was that? My day before yesterday's video, I think. New director of football's coming in, and he's bringing with him a portfolio of players. He's already got a list of players he wants to sign. Well, that's really good. That excites me. That's a sort of forward-thinking planning that I don't feel we've had before. I think we did, David Moyes identified he didn't like Sebastian Haller, and it took him 18 months to identify a replacement. I don't think that's the case now. There's parts of me that are starting to get worried this season. And I'll tell you one of them. I'll give you one example, but otherwise, if I go on to every section of the team, this video will drag on and on. The forwards. Mikel Antonio has been agitating for a move, and he was doing so last January, right? He was speaking about it in his podcast, got quite a lot to say. It appears that he would quite like a move. Gianluca Scamacca sort of wants to move, doesn't he? He's not settled. The system's not worked out for him. He's probably going back to Italy if they can afford him. But as I've mentioned, in terms of wages, there's not a lot of money. He's going to have to take a cut in wages. There's very few big transfers. The net spend in Syria is nowhere near what it is in the Premier League. But he wants to go. Now, it may well be that if we were to get a new manager in, the new manager may well suit Scamacca's style. But if we're starting the season with Moyes, I find that difficult to believe that Scamacca would hang around just in case Moyes got sacked. So you can only take the information that's presented to you at the time. And the information we have now is David Moyes is the manager. And if David Moyes is the manager, we definitely know he doesn't suit Gianluca Scamacca. So I think Scamacca will leave. So I think there's a chance Antonio will leave. I think there's Scamacca will leave. Danny Ings hasn't really worked out for West Ham. Now, the reason that wasn't obvious, it's an obvious concern to start off. You think, hold on a second, we could have a situation where we don't have any strikers, or one striker left who doesn't suit the system. And I think in my mind that's turned from concern into excitement. I'm actually excited about the prospect of bringing some new players in, because I think if we take this more cerebral and researched approach, then I think, and I hope what we bring in will have a reduced failure rate. And that's exciting. That's exciting to me. And I look at this ethos that might well be implemented around the club. And I think that's great. And I just think the idea to appoint a sporting director in Mark Noble, who is clearly keen to go overseas and learn his trade. We hear he was speaking to Paul Mitchell, who was obviously rumoured to take the director of football role. But Mark Noble has been speaking to other sporting directors overseas to try and educate himself. I mean, that's a great thing, right? That's a forward-thinking thing to do within the club. Now, people will say it's long overdue and we haven't been doing it. And maybe... Look, there's one or two things happened. Either David Sullivan's learnt his lesson and he's changed. I know people might say Leopard has never changed his spots. Maybe he has. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. Maybe it's Kretinsky's influence. We just don't know. Whatever is happening, maybe, just maybe, we know, and I've mentioned before, I think we know who the next owners of West Ham are going to be. Not you and me in terms of we, but I think Sullivan knows and Krasinski knows. And maybe, just maybe, the future owners, because they can't buy all of West Ham's shares because of the position that David Gold's shares are in, maybe the next owners are saying, this is what you want, this is what we want you to do in order to facilitate the takeover when we can put it through. Either one of those, Sullivan changing, Krasinski's influence, or new owners being forward thinking, any one of those three factors or three scenarios is exciting to me. I'm quite excited by it. I just find the excitement is overriding any concerns, which I'm really pleased about. I'm pleased to be, sort of feeling quite upbeat about it, really. So I think that's really good. And if there is someone that's as forward thinking enough, be it any of those three things, that they're deciding that they're going to implement a sporting director who's going to facilitate the progression of players from the academy through to the first team, that's brilliant. And also employ a footballing director who's going to overhaul recruitment and deal with the hiring of managers and coaches and first team players. It's you can only look at it and think there's a modernisation of West Ham going on here. I mean, again, we talk about at the start of the video of doing YouTube for a long time. How many times have I read the comment over the years, same old West Ham? Well, this doesn't feel like same old West Ham. I feel as if the club are making progress. I feel as if change is at hand. Now, change doesn't always succeed, but you don't want to be caught not trying. He who dares rodders and all the rest of it, fortune favours the brave. You've got to go for it, right? I don't doubt there's anyone that's ever achieved anything who didn't take a risk. And we are taking a risk, but I believe it's not only a calculated risk, but a well-trodden path. It's not like we're trying something completely different that other clubs don't do. I think we're actually doing the stuff that successful clubs do. We often look at Brighton and we look at Brentford and say, why can't we do what they're doing? Well, it's not the same, don't get me wrong, but it's a step in that direction. And I wouldn't say a step, actually, it's a leap. It's not one step in that direction, it's a leap. But it's a leap in the right direction. What it's not is a jump into the unknown. Because we know from other clubs that this works. I think because of that, because I look at the change, I look at what's happening at West Ham, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the transfer. I'm looking forward to this Arsenal Declan Rice stuff being concluded. To such an extent, my video today was going to be, I've had a little look at Stan Kroenke. I've had a little look at how they do business. I've had a look at his other the teams, the Avalanche, the Denver Nuggets. There's other ones as well. The Rams, the LA Rams. Sorry, I was having a look at it, and I was looking at their financial situation and why the Declan Rice deal hasn't quite gone through yet, and what's stalling it and holding it up. That was going to be my video for today. But you know what? I started to actually record it. It's boring me. If boring me, it's going to bore you. I'm not excited about this. What I am excited about is the future of West Ham. And I'm really looking forward to it. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below.